that by what, 8% almost? Yeah, about 8%. So that's pretty good. You get an 8% tax break just for using these. ETNs would be exchange traded notes. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up here fairly quick because it's taking forever. And there's a lot to these, so I'm gonna break them down one by one in later videos and go over them in better detail for you. But ETNs are exchange traded notes. These are taxed at a max of 35% on capital gains. There's the difference between these two is basically liquidity or cash that is available from banks and institutions to go ahead and fund these two different entities when it comes to trading. So I'll talk about those a little bit more in detail later with liquidity and different things you can watch for on those. Then you have gold, silver, and precious metals, right? Well, a lot of people always want to talk about gold and silver. Here's the thing with gold and silver, guys. I'm not against it. I actually invest in it myself. You probably want to, if you have a portfolio, they say to usually make sure that you have gold and silver making up about 10% of your portfolio. So I'd only invest about 10% of whatever you have available to invest in gold and silver. That's normally kind of a golden rule there. But with gold and silver, you've got ETFs, like I was just talking about, that deal with the different companies out there that are exploring for gold and silver. You can use those, but again, that's outside my circle of competence. I like to stick with companies that produce something. Because here's the thing, gold and silver, it doesn't produce anything. Okay? It's only worth what someone's willing to pay for it. Alright? And for me, that's not really... You can get ahead and you can make a lot of money doing that. But if people aren't going to pay, let's say you bought it on silver, let's say you bought it like $35, right? Well, you hope and pray that here in a few years that it's going to go up to $40 and people will pay $40 for it. But you're not necessarily, you're not really guaranteed that it's going to do that. 2 years from now, somebody could pay like $20 for it. And it's not really producing anything over time. Now, it's good because it does measure the strength of the US dollar, and a lot of times if you watch the prices of gold and silver, you can get a good idea of what the confidence is like in the US dollar at that certain time. Now it's another way of measuring fear and greed, basically. So it can be useful for some things. And then there's business, creating a company. Now, these are things that take time. It's not a get-rich-quick thing. I mean, you can go invest with somebody else's company that you might know personally, or help someone get invested, or get started, with their own company. But you got to know what you're doing. You got to know the ins and outs of, legality. Face-to-face investing basically is what that would be. Or you can start a company on your own. Because the thing is, guys, businesses produce. Alright? And if you have a good, solid foundation and good operations, good fundamentals, your company, depending on what industry it's in, if it's something that, is a good company, it should be able to withstand the test of time. So I like businesses. I mean, you want to, again, businesses would be in your regular stocks and dividends, so you are investing in companies. When you do, buy shares of a company, you're actually owning a company. So you want to look at it that way, and you want to treat this as like it's your own business. Alright? Because really, that's what it is. The last thing I want to really cover here, and this will wrap it up, would be insurance. Okay? Anytime that you guys invest, you want to have insurance. You want to be able, it's called asset protection. You want to be able to protect against times where you might have a down market or you're losing money on something. You want to be able to protect in times of that. And you do that with insurance. Now, the cool thing is with what I'm doing, I've mentioned that I do some day trading and stuff like that on my short-term goals. Insurance, the ETFs that I'm involved with are insurance. They are insurance. A lot of the banks and institutions will use these in times where the market's going down. So like the S&P 500 drops, 150 points, 200 points or something like that. They'll go into options. The banks will. And a lot of times they will either bet that the market's going to go down more, or they'll bet that it's going to go up, 3 months from now. It's completely legal. But they use it as insurance. So over time, they make their money back even if they lost money. And you want to make sure that you have insurance. Some form of it. Gold and silver is another way to insure yourself. Because if you study the cycles of wealth within a country, Mike Maloney, go research him. And just watch a video on gold and silver. It's pretty interesting because he talks about wealth cycles. You want to start kind of educating yourself a little bit on that. I'm not a big wealth cycle guy myself, but I know that they are real. Wealth cycles happen with every single country in the history of the world since the beginning of mankind. So they're legit. They've been around forever. They'll always be around, and you can capitalize on wealth cycles as well, especially if you got insurance. So that's what I'm talking about here, guys. You want to inform yourself. You want to continue to educate yourself in any way possible when it comes to investing, and make sure. For me, guys, I'm really passionate and I love investing. So for me, talking about this stuff is not work. I don't see it as work. I mean, it's easy for me to talk about it because I like doing it. Now with like oil and natural gas companies, man, I could talk about that stuff forever. I could talk about it for the next 2 hours if I wanted to, but I'm not going to bore you with that. But what I'm saying is you need to make sure that when you're investing, again, it's your circle of interest. Make sure that it's something you're passionate about, something that you love doing, because then you can get up here like I am and talk about it forever, and it doesn't seem daunting to you or something that is kind of a pain in your butt. So, anyways, I hope this was useful for you, and again, I'll be putting out more videos. I don't know at this point really what I'm going to cover. I'll probably go into detail with some of dividends, looking at price to earnings ratios and kind of giving you a layout of things that I look for when it comes to dividends on different companies, and knowing kind of what you're looking at as far as, is this company undervalued or overvalued. That's another thing I'll touch on is the valuation of a company. I told you yesterday, I made a video yesterday that I put out, and I was talking about the intelligent investor. This touches on valuation, and we actually went over that in one of my classes that I was just in recently, so I'll cover that as well. But other than that, just keep working on your communication, discipline, and knowledge. Keep doing what you're doing. If you're watching these videos like this, then, that's good. But don't just take my word for it. Go out and look at other guys too. Go research other guys like Jim Rogers is a good one. Let's see here. Mark Faber, maybe a little bit. Robert Kiyosaki, definitely. You want to look into him. Guys like that, man. These guys are, 30, 40 years ahead of me and what I'm doing. Because I'm nowhere near where they are. Now I want to get there eventually, but I'm not there yet. I'm just educating myself, and I'm shooting the videos as I go and kind of sharing my experiences with you and my knowledge. And I hope that over the next few years of doing this, that you'll start to see what's working for me and what's not working for me. And I want to share that with you guys because, it kind of sucks when you're doing this and nobody else around you, like your friends, are, even close to doing this yet. They're still trying to get out of debt, or they're just not even thinking about that kind of stuff. It kind of, sometimes I think about it, I'm like, man, I need to get some new friends, So, I'm trying to do that right now as well. It's just, this is life, guys, and you really need to just sit down and start focusing on your future. And a lot of that, it's complex. It's not easy, but a lot of it has to do with like investing and just knowing where to put your money once you have money, and that's really it. So I'll talk to you guys here later, and I'll make sure that I get another video up here soon. All right, take care.